What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some spicy battles in the Fantasy Cup running Tapu Fini, Kommo-O and Excadrill. The thought process behind this team was that on my way tasting legend, it felt like basically every team had a Tapu Fini and there aren't a ton of hard answers to it, so if I ran a really strong counter to it in the front with Tapu Fini, then my Kommo-O safe swap would likely bait it out, and because I'm running Poison Jab, that's a matchup that Kommo-O can actually win. In the back I'm running a triple ground moveset Excadrill to better deal with the other fairies and steel types. I will admit I build mostly ABB style teams and I'm not really used to playing a team like this, so I made quite a few really bad misplays, but it is what it is. With that being said, let's just get straight into the question of the day. Which Pokemon do you think has the best coverage fast move, allowing it to flip matchups against its typical hardest counters? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, we see Tapu Fini into Shadow Alolan Sandslash, we safe swap into Kommo-O, and we have baited out the Tapu Fini, which is exactly as planned now. They will be able to make it to a Moonblast before I can take them out, so I'm going to respect the damage here, but the opponent baits with a Surf, that's unfortunate. I'm going to go for the close combat here, and this will do a ton of damage. Even though it's resisted, it should put them into farm down range, and they won't make it to another Moonblast here. They have to go for the Surf, and even with the debuff, we do live that because it is resisted damage. And now I'm very close to two more close combats here, and now we do make it to the second close combat. We can go for the close combat. This should be grabbing a shield from the opponent, which it does, and we make it to the third close combat in time, and this will grab the final shield from the opponent. We come in with the Excadrill, they're going to throw straight away pretty much, and the opponent goes for the drill run, so now I can overfarm in this matchup, which I do, but the opponent makes a brilliant catch onto the Haxorus. They catch the drill run, and now I'm going to farm back up to the drill run and swap into my Tapu Fini, and we should typically wall everything. Actually, we do completely wall everything they throw, because even Earthquake or Surf or Night Slash, it's all resisted damage here. So I'm going to go for a full Bullet Seed farm down. They go for a second Breaking Swipe. It doesn't really matter here. Honestly, I think they're in range where a drill run will take them out regardless, but I'm going to go for the Dazzling Gleam anyways. It doesn't do much damage with the double debuff. I'm going to continue to overfarm here, and the opponent does throw their energy, but we did bank that drill run, so it doesn't matter, as we can come in, go for the drill run straight away, and this will be enough damage to take out the Shadow Alolan Sandslash, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game we see Clefable in the lead, so not a great lead here, and unlike the Tapu Fini, of course, we are going to take double super effective damage from their fast move, and even though Fairy Wind doesn't hit very hard, it still does chunk quite a bit. And yeah, so we can't really swap out of this matchup. I farmed to 100 energy, which you might consider to be a bit of a mistake, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to get off the second Grass Knot here, and then I will just let the Tapu Fini go down, because I'm not going to be able to flip this matchup. I don't really want to swap into my Excadrill, so Meteor Mash does take me out, but the opponent safe swaps into their own Excadrill. They are one turn behind, meaning I make it to the drill run before they get to theirs, and I'm able to take them out. The opponent recognizing that there was nothing they could do to flip that matchup, so they might as well just fully sacrifice it. And now they come in with a Giratina Altered. They actually throw straight away. This is just going to be a Dragon Claw, so I'm going to tank that, bank some energy, and then swap into my Kommo-O. Now unfortunately they do resist the Poison Jab damage, so this is a fairly comfortable matchup for the Giratina Altered. I'm going to wait one turn here, go for the Dragon Claw, and Dragon Claw will grab the final shield from the opponent as they swap back into their Clefable. Unfortunately they do make it to one final charge move. Honestly, could have shielded here, probably should have shielded there, but it doesn't really matter. We can get the full Mudshot farm down. I'm going to go for the drill run first and see how much damage that does to work out if I need to go for the Earthquake to KO, and it looks like I will have to, but we did gain the energy there, so I can safely shield this up. It's another Dragon Claw. I make it to the Earthquake, and from this range, Earthquake will be taking out the Giratina Altered form, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game we see Tapu Fini into Tapu Fini, so a great lead for the opponent, and the opponent safe swaps into Excadrill. And here I realised I actually don't have an answer for Excadrill whatsoever, and they full send the Mega Horn. It takes me out. I also didn't realise that Tapu Fini was so glassy, considering Tapu Fini has a decent amount of bulk, and at this point it's basically game over. There's not a lot I can do. I'm going to shield up the drill run. I will go for the close combat here, hoping they let this go through, but it's going to be close here. The opponent does respect the damage, and now Yeah, I think I'm just going to give up at this point. The opponent goes for the drill run, it takes me out, I come in with my Excadrill and I'm just going to let them fully farm me down, as that's the most likely outcome here. And yet the opponent recognizing there's no point in throwing, they can just fully counter farm me down, and I got fully swept by a Excadrill there. So pretty embarrassing. Pretty poor team comp building there from my end, but the opponent's going to swap here, trying to catch the Dazzling Gleam, but they're not able to do so, and now I'm at a massive advantage. We grab a shield from the opponent. I'm going to go for the Grass Knot here, although you can see only resisted fast moves from both the Haxorus and the Tapu Fini get me incredibly low, but I'm able to swap out into my Kommo-O. I am going to let the first move go through. Of course, Breaking Swipe is going to be super effective. It does a lot of damage, and we lose the CMP tie here, which is really unfortunate, but Breaking Swipe will grab my shield. I want to get off this Dragon Claw damage, even though we are now double debuffed. And rightly so, the opponent can just no shield that. They will make it to another charge move just before I make it to Dragon Claw number 2. So the opponent is able to take out the Kommo-O. But I'm actually going to come in with my Excadrill here, expecting the opponent to swap out straight away, which they do. And I'm going to full send the Earthquake. I don't expect a shield straight away from the opponent, but they actually do shield the Earthquake, which is unfortunate. I'm now going to use my own shield, and the opponent goes for a Zap Cannon bait, and they get the attack debuff as well. So really unfortunate. I'm going to overfarm and then swap and catch the charge move here, and the opponent is running Flash Cannon and Zap Cannon, so that makes it very easy for my Excadrill, but it doesn't really matter at this point. I can full send Earthquake number 2, taking out the Registeel, and I will make it to a drill run to take out the Haxorus from this range, and I will be able to take that game. So GG to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Tapu Bulu into Tapu Fini. So another good lead for the Tapu Bulu. The opponent save swaps into a Registeel, and I'm going to respond with my Excadrill, going straight for the drill run here, expecting them to let this go through, and the opponent does let it go through. Now, last time we did get baited with a Zap Cannon, and once again the opponent baits with the Zap Cannon, getting the attack drop, but because I threw my charge move before they got to it, this drill run will still be enough damage to take them out from this range, which it does. And now they come back in with their Tapu Fini. I'm going to go for a drill run first. I haven't shown that I'm running Earthquake yet, so I'm hoping because I'm debuffed, they will let the second move go through, go for a full Water Gun farm down. So I full send the Earthquake this time around, and Earthquake nearly takes them out. I go for the snipe with my Kommo-O, the opponent recognizing that, and they also swap into an Excadrill. Now this is actually a pretty uncomfortable matchup here, as I'm going to go for the close combat, grabbing a shield from the opponent. But here, I've got to be smart. I should be going for a Dragon Claw bait. It's obvious they're going to shield this up, and the opponent does shield, and because I'm double debuffed, they can fully mudshot farm me down, and that's worst case scenario. They've got definitely 100 energy right now. We come in with the Excadrill, just forcing them to throw straight away, which they do, and Drill Run does take us out. We come in with the Tapu Bulu. We have to tank this move, hope that they're not running Iron Head, which they're not, but honestly, we lose the CMP tie as well, and it just depends. Does the Tapu Fini have a Moonblast loaded, or have they only reached the surf here? We go for the Grass Knot, taking out the Excadrill, and they've got the charge move loaded. Is it going to be a Moonblast? Yes, it is, and unfortunately we get taken out there, even though Tapu Bulu was meant to be our hard answer to that Tapu Fini, so that's quite embarrassing, but GG's to that opponent. Into the next game, we see Giratina, Origin form in the lead, gonna save swap into my Kommo-O, and the opponent is staying in initially. We go for Dragon Claw, it does some decent damage, about 50% of their health, and I'm now gonna respect the damage from a Shadow Ball. The opponent baits with Ominous Wind, and now they swap into Clefable. Now we are running Poison Jab, this does a lot of damage, but these Fairy Winds are already chunky us. We go for that close combat, and if they go for the full farm down, then I will make it to close combat number 2, and this will do a lot of damage even though it's resisted, and it puts them into range where I should be able to mudshot farm them down with my Excadrill. So we're going to come in with the Excadrill straight away, let the first move go through, they blind throw a Meteor Mash, and they throw a second move straight away, so this is just going to be a second Meteor Mash, which we will tank fairly comfortably, and I will get a big mudshot farm down. The opponent comes in with their Tapu Fini, and now I come in with my Tapu Bulu, and we do kind of core break their team here. Of course, they do resist the Grass Knot from this range, though it should still be enough damage to hopefully take out the Giratina, so I'm going to go straight for it, and we grab a shield from the opponent, and we outpace them to the next Shadow Ball, and this Grass Knot hopefully takes out the Giratina. It does take them out, and now I should be able to take out this Tapu Fini, the opponent recognizing that, and they concede the match. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Haxorus in the lead. So going to stay in this lead matchup. The opponent safe swaps into Galarian Weezing. So they will be able to make it to the overheat in time. I'm going to respect the damage. The opponent baits with a play rough, but it's good to know that they're not running Brutal Swing, because now I can overfarm quite considerably, go for the drill run, and with the mud shot damage, that is now enough damage to take them out there. They come back in with the Haxorus. I'm going to go for drill run straight away, expecting a shield, but the opponent lets it go through. We get to drill run number 2, and this will be taking out the Haxorus here, and the opponent is running a Shadow Alolan Sandslash in the back. We go for drill run number 3, throwing on the CMP tie, but the opponent is likely going to fully farm us down, so I swap into my Tapu Bulu, just forcing the opponent to throw their energy straight away. They go for Ice Punch number 1. I'm going to continue farming, and the opponent does throw their energy here. Ice Punch takes us out, but now they've got very little residual energy, if any, so now I can come in with my Kommo-O. We will live 1 Ice Punch from full health, so I'm going to wait until I've got 2 back-to-back close combats before I start throwing my energy. We take the first one there. They will make it to Ice Punch number 2, but I can safely shield this up. I will be able to make it to the back-to-back close combats before they make it to Ice Punch number 3. The first one should grab the shield, or they might just let it go through. They let it go through, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Tapu Fini into Tapu Bulu, so very good lead. The opponent safe swaps into a Slurpuff, and now this is a bit tricky here. Gonna go for the Grass Knot straight away, just chip them, and then I will swap into my Excadrill. Honestly, should have probably swapped into my Kommo-O. That might be a mistake here, as I'm gonna shield this up, but they will be able to flip switch in the 2 shield scenario now. So I'm gonna go for the drill run on the CMP tie with the second flamethrower. We grab the first shield from the opponent, but if the opponent wants to, they can flip this matchup. So I'm gonna shield up the flamethrower here. I will overfarm just a little bit, go for the drill run here, and this should be taking them out or grabbing the final shield. And the opponent lets it go down, so that's fine with me. They come back in with the Tapu Fini. I'm going to farm here to nearly back-to-back drill runs. Going to go for the drill run here, and this will do about 40% of their health. I actually overfarm here. I don't want them to fully farm me down, but instead they go for the surf, they take me out, and they've actually got Galarian Weezing in the back, and this is absolutely awful for me. I did consider running Boom Burst on my Kommo-O instead of the close combat, and I'm going to go and swap and catch the move onto my Tapu Bulu, but I think it's just too little too late here. Even with the play rough, that puts me into range where they probably could have just farmed me down. They do actually go for the overheat, taking me out there, and they do debuff their attack, but it just doesn't matter. Even with a double debuff in their attack, a play rough or even an overheat from this range would pretty much take me out, so I fully undercharge that. It's just not going to be enough damage. Play rough takes out my Kommo-O, and I do unfortunately lose that game. But yeah, I thought about running the Boom Burst, but then you've got obviously no coverage up against Steel types, so if the opponent decides not to swap out of a Steel matchup, then it's actually really awful. So here, I'm going to shield up the Shadow Ball from the opponent, and I am running Excadrill in the lead this time around. I did switch it up from time to time. We go for the Earthquake. It doesn't quite take them out, which I didn't expect there. I was hoping it would take them out, and now I have to throw a drill run anyways because I don't want a double shield. But here I swap into my Kommo-O, the opponent coming in with their Tapu Fini, but this is kind of awkward. I was expecting them to maybe swap out after they've seen the Kommo-O, but they go for a Moonblast, and now I'm going to overfarm massively in this matchup, go for the close combat. This should put them into range where I can Poison Jab farm them down. Instead, the opponent swaps into a Alolan Sandslash, so I'm going to bait with a Dragon Claw here, and Dragon Claw grabs the shield, and now I can go for that close combat. This will definitely grab the final shield from the opponent, which it does, and now I'm actually going to overfarm here, swap, and then I'm able to force the opponent to throw their energy into my Excadrill. Drill run takes me out. Gonna come back in, and we barely live that Shadow Claw. We make it to the close combat. That will one-shot the Sandslash, and now we can come in with our Tapu Bulu, and I will be able to Bullet Seed, farm them down, and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Excadrill into a Giratina lead once again. So we saw last game, we went for the Earthquake. That didn't take them out, so I should learn my lesson and just go straight Drill Run in this matchup now. And Drill Run does a lot of damage, does over 50% of their health. I am going to respect the damage most likely from the Giratina, and they full send the Shadow Ball, so that's fine with me. We can now overfarm just a little bit, go for Drill Run number 2, and this will be taking out the Giratina. Now they come in with the Tapu Fini. I'm going to swap into my my Kommo-O, expecting the opponent to swap out, but once again, they are going to stay in this matchup. I'm going to shield this up, and I'm wondering if it's going to be the exact same team from the opponent, but no, they're actually running a Clefable instead. We've got a ton of energy here, so I'm going to go for a close combat. That does a lot of damage considering it is resisted, and now we CMP tie them, this time throwing a Dragon Claw, just in case they did overfarm here, because if they did, I don't want them to be able to fully farm me down. But now we can come in with the Excadrill, and we should be in a pretty comfortable position here, as I'm going to overfarm in this matchup, go for the drill run, and I'm hoping that they will let this go through, but they do use their shield, and now they swap back into Tapu Fini. We can come in with the Tapu Bulu, and we should just go for the Grass Knot straight away. We overfarm by 1 Bullet Seed, doesn't really matter. We take out the Tapu Fini, they come back in with Clefable, and unless they've got back-to-back charge moves, I should be able to make it to the drill run in time, and from this range, this should be enough damage to take out Clefable, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Excadrill into Excadrill. So awful lead for us. Gonna say swap into my Kommo-O, hoping the opponent just swaps out here, or does, I don't know. Honestly, I need to land the close combat, otherwise it's gonna be very difficult to take them out. But instead, they swap into Berserker. So this isn't great for us either. I'm gonna go for the close combat, and the opponent does use their shield. They throw straight away, and I'm not gonna bother using a shield. Gonna let Foul Play take us out, and now I can come in with my Excadrill. I'm going to let the first move, well, let them get to the first move, shield it up, and then overfarm considerably because I need to land an Earthquake ideally up against that Excadrill. So we farm here, farming to nearly 100 energy. Drill Run takes out the Berserker, and now I will have to full send the Earthquake if I want to take out this Excadrill coming back in, which I'm gonna go for. I need this to land. Can we land the Earthquake? Yes, we can, and I'm now gonna swap into my Tapu Bulu. The opponent just concedes the match there. I don't know what the third Pokemon was, but I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Giratina, Origin in the lead once again. So once again, gonna shield up the first charge move. The opponent does bait with an Ominous Wind, but now I'm gonna go for the Earthquake. I don't know what I'm thinking. We've already seen it doesn't do enough damage to take them out, but now I swap into my Kommo-O. Gonna attack this move, and hopefully I can Poison Jab, farm them all the way down. They full send the Shadow Ball this time around, and they swap into a Registeel. So gonna go for a close combat. I'm hoping I make it to close combat number 2 before they throw that energy, and we do barely get there before they get to a Flash Cannon or Focus Blast. The opponent does let it go through, but with the Poison Jab damage, they're still not going to put them into range where I can farm them down. They go for Flash Cannon, taking me out. We come back in with the Excadrill, and I'm going to overfarm in this matchup here. I'm going to shield this up. It is just another Flash Cannon, unfortunately, but I can farm to 100 energy or thereabouts, go for the Drill Run, and Drill Run will be taking out the Registeel. The opponent is going to come in with a Tapu Fini, so I'm going to go for the Earthquake here, and then swap into my Tapu Bulu, and things are looking pretty good for us here. I've got to be wary of a catch, but otherwise we should be good. Honestly, could have thrown already, but instead I overfarm. The opponent makes it to the Moonblast. That does a ton of damage, a lot more than I expected. And then I thought I could Bullet Seed, farm them down. I'm not able to do so, and I just completely threw away the game here. We make it to a last second Drill Run, but Drill Run is not going to be enough damage to take out the Tapu Fini, and that was just a horribly played end game from my end there, but GG's to that opponent, very well played on their end. But into the next game, we see Slurpuff in the lead, so going to stay in this lead matchup initially. Going to go straight for the Earthquake. Honestly, I was like, this is the first time I've used Excadrill in the meta since the last time we had the Fantasy Cup. There are a lot more XL Pokemon and slightly bulkier Pokemon, so Earthquake last time around was basically one-shotting everything. This time around, it isn't, so I think you should just go straight Drill Run in most matchups. But here, I'm going to go for a Dragon Claw bait with my Kommo-O, grabbing a shield from the opponent, and I should probably live an Ice Punch from this range. It's going to be tight, but we do barely live it. The opponent then swaps into Tapu Fini, so very nice catch by the opponent, catching the resisted close combat, and they're able to Water Gun farm me down. But now I can come in with my Tapu Bulu, go straight for a Grass Knot. I will outpace them here. I'm going to undercharge it. It still takes them out anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference here. And I'm going to let this move go through. I think Ice Punch won't be enough damage to take me out, so I'm going to swap into my Excadrill, and I've kind of behind on energy here. I have to call a bait successfully, and it is the Ice Punch, which is massive, as that should allow me to make it to back-to-back Drill Runs just barely. The first one should be grabbing a shield from the opponent, but no, the opponent lets it go through, recognizing we were at the back-to-back, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see a lowland Sandslash in the lead this time around. I'm going to overfarm in this matchup. I am very wary of a catch, so I'm not going to throw straight away, and now I will farm to the back-to-back. I wait one turn, and then I go for the drill run here, making sure they don't make the catch, and then I'm going to wait one more turn, throwing the drill run once again, hoping to grab a shield or take them out. Honestly, I'd prefer if I took them out from this range, but here we are going to shield once again. I'm expecting them to catch the next charge move. And they do, they catch it onto Giratina, so we might bank another drill run, or we might swap out straight away. We're going to bank another drill run here, and then swap into my Kommo-O. I should be able to live any charge move from this range, unless they're running Dragon Pulse, which if they were, then they might be able to farm me down, but that's not the case here. I can overfarm in the matchup, go for a Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw will take out the Giratina. They come in with a Clefable, we don't quite make it to the close combat, but it doesn't really matter here. Dragon Claw does a tiny amount of damage. Although, honestly, we're not in a great position. I'm going to come in with my Tapu Bulu here. I'm hoping that I can live a Meteor Mash, but they actually go for the Moonblast there for whatever reason. And now I'm able to swap Snipe with the Drill Run onto Sandslash. And now can I make it to the charge move? My fear here is that they would be able to fully Fairy Wind farm me down if I went straight for that drill run. So instead, I tried to go for the Earthquake, and then here I tried to go for the Dazzling Gleam, knowing that a Grass Knot barely doesn't take them out there. So just a comedy of errors there that led to me losing that game when I looked fairly comfortable, but GG's to that opponent. And into the next game, we see a Xerneas in the lead, so a pretty spicy pick, at least for the Fantasy Cup. I know in the Open Master League, it is a very strong pick now, and I do know that it does get to those charge moves very fast. They can, of course, run close combat for coverage, which I'm fully expecting here, but now I can go for the Drill Run, and I will be able to win all even shield scenarios, and Drill Run does grab a shield from the opponent, so now I'm just going to let this move go through. If they go for another close combat, which they do, they will be quad debuffed, and look at that poison jab damage, and I know this is just going to be another close combat, so I will actually let it go through on my Kommo-O, and I'm expecting if they're running Fairy in the lead, hopefully they don't have another Fairy in the back, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were. We go for the Dragon Claw, then we swap into Tapu Bulu, and they're running Excadrill in the back, which is the best case scenario for us, because any other steel type, then we're going to struggle, but up against Excadrill, this is actually a fairly easy matchup for us, as I can land one Grass Knot, shield up the Iron Head, which is massive for me, because now I will be able to live a Shadow Ball from this range. It will do a ton of damage, but I will live it and make it to the Dazzling Gleam, which will be enough damage from this range, well, probably from full health, to take out the Giratina, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.